Options Academy. In this presentation, we'll discuss the concept of time decay. As always, to maximize your learning experience, you can refer to our written article which matches this presentation. A little background first. Many options traders make their first steps in the options world by buying options. Most options buyers buy options with somewhat of a lottery mentality. That is the willingness to participate in a game in which the probability to lose is much higher than the probability to win. And yet each loss is fairly small, while winners, however far and apart, have the potential to bring windfall profits. It is widely agreed by most options traders that 75 to 80% of certain groups of options will expire worthless. These are typically out-of-the-money options, options with strike prices ranging 8 to 15% away from the current level of the underlying market, which are typically trading 60 to 90 days from expiration. This is a very important point. Let's say that again, using a different angle, many traders agree that historically, any given market will 75 or 80% of the time move less than 8 to 15% during of 60 to 90 days. Now, options sellers suggest if statistics are on your side, what remains is to manage and limit your risk in those instances in which an underlying market decides to ignore historical data and move over 15% in a short period of time. Creating options credit spreads and calendar spreads are two ways to limit your risk in such scenarios, and you can learn more about them in their specific segments. In this segment, however, I will explain one of the basic theoretical aspects of options trading. That is the concept of time value and time decay. Let's talk about intrinsic value. By definition, all options are designed to expire. Any option and all options have an expiration date. This finite nature of options can easily be observed by taking any option and comparing its value at a different point in time. Simply choose any option and compare its value at 3 months, 2 months, and 1 month prior to expiration. You will immediately notice that whether the option is out of the money, which is away from where the market is trading now, or at the money, which is where the market is trading now, its value decreases as time passes. This is because every option is comprised of two basic values. Those are intrinsic value and extrinsic value. Intrinsic value is determined by how much the option is in the money. A call option at the strike price 60 has an intrinsic value of 1 if the underlying market is trading at 61. The intrinsic value of that option is 5 if the underlying market is at 65, 8 if the market is at 68, and so on. A put option at the 60 strike price on the same market has an intrinsic value of 1 if the market is at 59, 5 if the market is at 55, and so on. Out-of-the-money options have no intrinsic value at all, and their price is comprised of extrinsic value only. Extrinsic value is determined mainly by 3 factors: time left to expiration, time value, the volatility of the underlying market, and the distance of the market from the option's strike price. The extrinsic value of an option is greatly influenced by volatility. This is because in flat markets, low volatility, the probability of the underlying market reaching a strike price far out of the money is relatively small. In times of large movements in the market, high volatility, the probability of the underlying market to reach the same strike price is greater. Somewhat paradoxically, however, high volatility is one reason why experienced and smart option sellers often do better than their peers, directional traders, and show better results in a highly volatile environment. In such highly volatile environments, options values, premiums, are often extremely inflated. Many options are overvalued, which allows smart traders to sell options farther out of the money and collect premiums well above the hypothetical value of the options. Other than volatility, the value of an out-of-the-money option is made out of time. Time value is inherent in all options, and prior to expiration, every option has time value. All things being equal, the more time an option has until expiration, the more time value it has. An option with 90 days to expiration has greater time value than an option with 60 days to expiration. That will, in turn, have more time value than an option with 30 days to expiration. An option at expiration date, which is out of the money, has no time value at all and therefore expires worthless. Let's take a look at the concept of time decay. Out-of-the-money options have no intrinsic value at all. Volatility aside, the value of these options is comprised only of their time value. Since out-of-the-money options have nothing but time value, every day that goes by reduces the time value of the option. This is very important to understand. All things the same, regardless of which direction the underlying market moves, an option loses time value each and every day. Time never stops, and time decay never stops either. That includes trading days, weekends, and holidays. Options are always and forever subject to the eroding effects of time decay. In the money, options also experience time decay. It is much more evident, however, when examining an out-of-the-money option, since the erosion in the overall value can be staggering. So much so that it is safe to say, when you sell an out-of-the-money option, you are essentially selling time. And when dealing with time, it is always great having it on your side. Other than risk management, time decay might very well be the single most important factor to understand when trading options. This is because, unlike anything else in the world of trading, time is 100% predictable. One aspect of time decay, which is often misunderstood and mismanaged, is the rate of time decay. Theta is the Greek symbol used to measure the relationship between time value and the time remaining to expiration. The rate an option loses time value is not consistent throughout its lifetime, and this is similar to most decaying processes. As the option nears its expiration date, the rate of decay increases, and in fact, during the last month prior to expiration, there is a significant increase in the rate of time decay. In the last days prior to its expiration, an option may lose or gain value almost in tandem with the moves of the underlying market. Let's take a closer look. Let's look at a call option that is trading at the money. A strike price at the same level of the underlying market. Strike price of 60 with an underlying market trading at 60 and has a 90 days expiration. If the market moves 10 points lower, the option will lose value. But since the market has 90 days to potentially move back up, the call option would only lose a fraction of the 10 points. An option with 1 day to expiration will lose a much greater portion of the 10 points, since it does not have the luxury of time to regain its value. In the same manner, an option with 60 days to expiration will lose more value in an adverse underlying move than an option with 90 days, and an option with 30 days will lose value faster than an option with 60 days, and so on and so on. Now here is a pitfall to avoid. The change in the rate of time decay leads many option sellers to write, which is another way to say sell, options with an expiration date of 30 days or less. We take the position that this is a pitfall you should avoid. There are several reasons why we don't like to sell options in the last 30 days prior to expiration. 1. Though the rate of time decay indeed increases as the option nears expiration, there is still significant time erosion in options that are trading 90 and 60 days to expiration. You should clearly observe this point by taking any option at all and look at the same strike price in different months. 2. When selling an option with 30 days to expiration, traders usually collect very little premium if they wish to sell a statistically significant distance from the money. As a result, traders often end up being married to the trade, for good or for bad. Collecting very little premiums might force the seller to stay with the trade until expiration or very near it. In addition, the flexibility to adjust and manage the risk is taken away because of the small premiums. 3. If sellers wish to collect more premiums while selling 1 month out, they are often tempted to sell a strike price that is fairly close to the money. By doing so, they are not only subjecting themselves to a greater risk should market move one way or the other, they are also giving away, to a large extent, the main benefit of options writing, which is selling time rather than trading directionally. 4. The fourth incentive to selling options 60 and 90 days out in time rather than 30 days is the relative return on your investment. As an option nears its expiration date, the collateral required to hold its increases, and here is why. At expiration, one of two things will happen to an option. It will expire worthless if it's out of the money, or it will completely converge with the underlying market. If an option expires in the money and is not cash settled, it becomes one with the underlying market. It becomes a futures contract. Any move of the underlying market beyond that point in time will be manifested in identical gain or loss to your position. Because in the money options converge with the underlying market at expiration, they are perceived as carrying more potential risk. As a result, the collateral requirements increases as the options near expiration. This is true for options that are out of the money as well. This is so because the potential for underlying market to make a sudden, large move always exists. A similar option spread at a similar distance from the money, from where the underlying is trading, will require more collateral when it is sold 30 days out rather than 90 days out. In other words, in order to collect $1,500 in premium, you will have to tie approximately $2,000 if you sell 90 days out, and will require approximately $3,500 if you sell the same exact spread 30 days out. Therefore, selling 90 days out gives you the potential for a higher return on your dollar. To conclude this segment, let's review a quick comparison between selling 30 days out in time versus 90 days out in time, and we'll demonstrate that. Number 1, you collect smaller premiums when you sell only 30 days out. Number 2, you are closer to the money and hence are subject to greater risk when you sell only 30 days out. Number 3, your collateral requirement is greater, thus the return on your dollar is smaller when you sell only 30 days out. Considering these 3 aspects, we think your preference should gravitate towards selling options 60 and 90 days out rather than selling only 30 days out. Time value and time decay could provide enough theoretical and practical discussions to fill many books. In this short presentation, I wanted to touch on the basis of the issue and to review the importance of time value and time decay when trading options. To conclude, I want to point out an interesting observation. When trading any underlying market, a trader needs to be 100% correct about the direction of the market. Options buyers have to be 110% correct about the direction of the market. Why 110%? Because not only do they need the market to go to the strike price they paid for, but they need the market to surpass that strike price by at least the premium they paid before seeing any profit on expiration. To top all that, options buyers have to be correct about the direction in a very certain, defined, and limited amount of time. So when you buy options, you put yourself in a race against the clock. I would like to suggest to you that the main reason traders lose money in the market is because of the inability to consistently predict market direction and market moves. While I might be stating the obvious, there are thousands of systems attempting to do exactly that. Fundamental traders try to predict market moves by putting their attention on local and global events such as geopolitical tensions, earning reports predictions, inflationary indexes, weather conditions, and more. Technical traders attempt to predict market direction by looking at chart patterns. There are many systems out there, some are good and some are not. While both of those approaches may work for some traders, some of the time, I strongly believe and suggest that for most of us mortals, it is extremely difficult to consistently predict market direction. Focusing on time decay proposes a new paradigm of trading, a paradigm which to some extent is independent of market direction and on which benefits from the one thing we all know too well. Time passes, time simply moves on. Here's to your success, and remember, there is substantial risk of loss in trading futures options. Remember that past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results, and remember that only risk capital should be used. Hope to see you again.